Alright, so if you're anything like me, you've probably followed the rules all throughout your life. And not just the ones about properly quarantining. You have been properly quarantining though, right? We are still in the middle of a pandemic, but also the ones about going to school, getting a good job, all that jazz. But now that we've been stuck inside for the past 6 months and had a little time to ourselves to reflect and slow down, you may be thinking, who am I? Why am I here?
Why didn't I take the past 25 years of my life to develop goals outside of what I want to achieve academically and in my career?
And for those whose cop-out personality is travel, guess what? No one is really doing any of that in 2020. So now, because of these unprecedented circumstances, there's no way that you can book a flight to Southeast Asia to discover yourself, as opposed to regular, precedented circumstances, where there's no way that you can book a flight to Southeast Asia to discover yourself because of a condition I like to call being poor. But that's where I come in. Me and my 2 remaining brain cells will guide you through the steps you can take to discover who you really are without dropping 10 grand to go backpacking across Europe, or spend 2 weeks in a hostel sleeping in a twin-size bed and sharing a toilet with 10 other people. I still can't believe people pay good money to live like that, because it's that kind of squalor that led my parents to immigrate.
Hello, this is Editing Nicole. I'm dropping in to say that yes, I do have sweat on my upper lip, and yes, I do not wipe it off until halfway through the video, okay? This is a very low budget, 1-person production. Thank you so much.
So first of all, let's orient ourselves to why people may like traveling in the first place. A lot of the reasons why people look to travel is because A, they want to experience new places and put their minds in new scenarios. Because obviously, if you're going to be anxious, depressed, and dissatisfied with your life, you might as well do that in a place with a lot of sun. And B, in order to take a break. For all of my workaholics out there, that is also called a vacation. PTO, if you're feeling fancy. But what if I told you there was a way to achieve both of those things? Putting your mind in new scenarios and taking a break for free. It's called using your imagination. Because as much as I would personally love to practice gratitude and be one with the universe in front of a waterfall in Bali, I can also practice gratitude and be one with the universe at home. As soon as my rent check gets deposited by my landlord on the 1st of every month, you better believe that I do my best to stay home as much as possible. They say millennials like to spend money on experiences instead of things. And that's why my favorite experience of them all is having stable housing. Admittedly, I'm not much of a traveler myself, yet miraculously, over the past few years, I've grown to discover who I am and be more and more comfortable in my own skin without going backpacking in Thailand or taking photos with elephants. And the reason why I feel so comfortable with myself is because I've done the work to figure out who I am as a person. Growing into who you are as a person and becoming more and more comfortable in your own skin is something that you'll have to continuously work towards every day, every month, every year of your life, perhaps until the end of your life. Now, for some people, they definitely need to do that growing a little bit faster than others. You see, it's important to practice self-growth, not just for yourself, but for the people around you who have to deal with your immaturity and consequently suffer. This acceptance of having to continuously grow and having that growth as a constant in my life means that even if there are parts of myself that I'm not fully comfortable with, I have the confidence to know that as I change throughout the years, I will change in ways that will bring me closer and closer to becoming the person that I want to be. Discovering who you are is a lifelong journey, because as you experience different things in your life, how you process and internalize those different experiences will ultimately help shape who you are as a person. And that's why discovering who you are isn't something that you can achieve in a 3-month backpacking excursion of a crash course, even though the Eat, Pray, Love crowd is truly a big fan of that. And now that I've given a preamble as to why this is a lifelong journey and why the work will never be done, let's take the remaining time in this video to figure out who you are. The first thing you have to figure out are what what your values are in life. So what are values? Your values are your principles, they're your morals, they're what you believe is important in your life, and ultimately what you choose to prioritize. Moreover, these values have to be defined by you. They can't be defined externally, meaning that your parents can't define these for you. The corporations that are constantly listening to all of our thoughts and emotions can't define them for you. You're the only one who can decide what you feel is most important in your life. Outside of like basic human needs, but we will cover dialectical materialism in another video. And that's why the simplest way to figure out what your values are is to use a very scientific method of picking some from a list. So let's look at one of these pre-prepared lists and listen to a few examples. Being a part of a group, being able to achieve things in life, living a life of pleasure and satisfaction, keeping life full of exciting events, relationships, and things, being self-directed or independent, being a spiritual person, being secure physically, financially, emotionally, whatever that looks like to you, contributing to the larger community, working at self-development, having integrity in everything that you do. Now these are different from other value lists that you might have discovered because they're a lot more targeted. A lot of people think like, oh, a value is empathy, a value is being credited. And yeah, those are nice values that sound really nice, but what does that look like in practice? All right, so now that you've listened to a few examples of what your values could be, now you really have to be honest with yourself. What are the values that resonated most with you? The reason why you have to be honest is because of something called the social desirability bias. The social desirability bias is a person's tendency to underrepresent, that is, to lie about undesirable characteristics, and to overreport, that is, to lie about things that make you look better in another person's eyes. So let me give you an example. When you go to the dentist and they look you in the eye and ask you how many times a week you've been flossing, what do you say? Now, unless you are someone who is used to feeling immense shame and judgment in every aspect of your life, you probably lie and say that you floss every day, sometimes even twice a day, when that's not the case at all. That's social desirability bias, when you say that you say or do things that make you look better than who you actually are. Like me editing these videos. Now, I am not going to judge you. I am simply a pre-filmed recording operating as a series of pixels on the screen of your choice. I do not have any bearing or power over your life decisions, but you do. And that's why really be honest with yourself about what you find important in your life. Now that we've covered your mindsets, your values, your moral compass, the next thing we're going to do is cover your actions. What do you do every day? And most importantly, do you actually like doing it? If you're someone that likes reading, are you actually making a concerted effort to read every day or incorporate that into your daily life? Please note that buying books and reading them are two different hobbies entirely. If you are someone that likes going to the gym, pre-COVID, are you actually going to the gym, or are you just letting your monthly membership charge your credit card every month? The reason why it's important to figure out what you actually like doing is because this is the part where we find out whether or not your actions align with your values. If what you value in life involves hanging out regularly with your friends and having a strong support network of friendships and relationships, but what you do on a day-to-day basis is wake up, brush your teeth, pretend to floss so you can lie to your dentist about it, go to work, then come home and binge watch Netflix without really reaching out to your friends at all. That might also be another reason why you don't feel satisfied, because your actions, again, aren't in line with your values. Recall what you did today from the moment you wake up until the moment that your head hits the pillow at night. Or more realistically, the moment that you decide to stop scrolling through social media on your phone while in bed. If you were to repeat today, every single day, for the next 40 years of your life, would you be satisfied doing that? Would you be happy living your life that way? Because if you aren't, you need to figure out what ways you can change your life so that the trajectory is more in line with what you want to see. That inner work, that inner life satisfaction, that's not something that can be achieved simply by going on a trip to colonize another third world country every year. Your goal in life shouldn't be to build a life that you feel the need to regularly escape from, because in reality there is no tomorrow, there is no 40 years from now, There's really only today. The way you live your life today is the way you will end up living the rest of your life. Now, as an addendum, I know that there are a lot of excruciatingly difficult career paths and life choices where you have to put in the work up front and practice delayed gratification. And I have a lot of respect for that. Is that pathway for me? No, but I have a lot of respect for it. But that delayed gratification is only valid if what you're working towards actually leads to gratification. If not, what are you delaying? What is the delay for? What's the point of suffering in the moment and however much longer you have to go if what you're pursuing isn't actually going to give you more joy, but instead more suffering? It's really exciting because you're essentially a blank slate. You're like a sponge. And if you like something, then you can keep doing it. And if you don't like something, you don't have to keep doing it. You can drop it and move on. Unless one of the things that you don't like doing includes your taxes. Please do those, because God knows that the billionaires don't. But otherwise, everything is a lot simpler than we think it is. The final step in our crash course to building a better you is to create small, actionable, and manageable goals that align with your values that you can build up over time. The best goals are not the ones that are the most detailed, they're the ones that you can stick to over and over again over a long period of time. The best goals are habits. I really love the book on habits by James Clear called Atomic Habits, because in it there's a graph that looks at how you can change over time just by being 1% better each day, and how that can still lead to exponential growth. And that's not the only thing nowadays where you can see the power of exponential growth, but I digress. So if one of your values is to be more mindful and you want to achieve this through meditation, don't start off by meditating for an hour your first time around. Start off by taking 3 slow mindful breaths. Make it so easy that you can't say no to it, and then afterwards build on from there. If one of your values is to live a more active lifestyle, don't start off by trying to go to the gym 7 days a week. Just start off by going once a week and then build up from there. Instead of getting off on one bus stop, get off a bus stop earlier and then walk the rest of your way there. And as a final example, if one of your values is to live a more fun, chaotic lifestyle and you want to achieve that by making YouTube videos, don't start off by making 7 videos a week and uploading every day. That's not reasonable. Just start by uploading once a week or once every 2 weeks, or even more low effort, you can hit the subscribe button so you can live vicariously through me instead. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel and watching this video. I hope it helps you develop a personality outside of traveling to Southeast Asia, or as I like to call it, home.